Weird science
is the revolution.
It's a gang war tie-in, obviously, and it is Shang-Chi. And you said that you enjoy Shang-Chi, so you asked to do this with me.
Yes.
And it's okay. It's weird because it's one of those books that feels like it didn't need to happen. You didn't need Shang-Chi to show up with the, his whole 5-weapon society. But once you get into it, it may feel a little generic if you're a Shang-Chi fan, but it's not bad. And that's all I want now. That's what I want from Gang War, is just not to be upset and pissed off about it. And I wasn't at the end of this, so I'll give it props.
Just from the cover alone, you can tell it wasn't needed, because what did they do on the cover? They put Spider-Man on there, don't they, with Shang-Chi.
Really? I thought it was Spider-Man with Bruce Lee, it looks like. I mean, that looks straight out of a
It's like the old style Shang-Chi from the 70s book.
Yeah, it is the old style.
He did look
it's
like
kind of
Bruce
a crazy deal. Yeah, because he was inspired. So you end up where you have Spider-Man on the cover. That really shows you, like you said, that they're really like, hey, you should read this, because Spider-Man, he does show up.
Yes.
But again, if you read the more recent Gene Luen Yang Shang-Chi stuff, you'll get the play here. What it is that Shang-Chi has taken over the 5-weapon society, and he doesn't want to be bad. Now, the heroes don't quite know if he's good or bad. That continues in this. And his family and associates, the 5-weapon society itself, they're pissed off because they want him to be bad. They want to do what they do. It's like, hey, let the 5-weapon society do what the 5-weapon society does. But Shang-Chi has tried to turn it into kind of a force for good. It hasn't quite gotten there yet, even after the Gene Luen Yang stuff. But we don't have enough time in this to really delve into that, so we're going to go kind of generic.
I enjoyed
kind of
that Gene and Yang stuff as well, Jim. That was fun, wasn't it? You were talking about it just before we started recording. That was a good, fun book. My
favorite part were the family members, especially Sister Dagger. And if people had listened to us play, when we ended up reviewing those on the podcast back in the day when those came out, I say back in the day, it was a couple years ago, but Sister Dagger, Brother Step, like all of those were great, but Sister Dagger was my favorite. And in this Greg Pak, one little line just broke my heart. Oh, my family, and they're off on their own doing their things. I was like, oh, man, why can't I hope they show up. I really do, but I don't think they will. But it's written by Greg Pak, art by Isao Amahado, Jim Campbell on colors, and VC's Travis Lanham on letters. And again, what does Shang-Chi have to do with gang war? He's kind of just there. He's in Chinatown, and he is going to try to protect, their neighborhood. They're not Shang-Chi's not about to go out and try to expand any sort of territory. That's where you're going to get some of the conflict here. But we start off when Shang-Chi shows up, a flashback with his father slapping him in the face is not soon to follow, because you end up where all of a sudden we're back. And you said to me, and it made me laugh now when I look, Shang-Chi as a kid looks like a 90-year-old man. He's there.
Such weird art, isn't it? He's like the old uncle or something, yeah.
And that's what it looks like. And he's playing like a war game. He has all these figures on a map. And it's such a weird scene. His father, Zhang Zhao, is like, hey, Shang-Chi, I see you're doing your little plans here. Like you're playing war on that tabletop game like a nerd. What's your plan here? What do you think you're going to do? Well, you see, Daddy, I'm going to have these troops go over here to cause disorder, and then I'm going to sneak around here, and it seems pretty cool, right? His dad slaps him right in the face. Why did you tell me your plans? I'm like, that's a crazy little thing, because what this does in my mind, if this was real, it's not the idea of deception. You end up, this is really played out through this whole issue, right? The idea of deceiving your enemy. But what this does is say, I'm never talking to you, Dad. Like, the next time you ask me a question, oh, what are you doing for the day? I'm just walking away. I don't want to get slapped.
So much for trusting your dad. I know, like, thanks, Dad, for that.
And that's the best, is he's, like, trying to teach him lessons. Yeah. Obviously, Daddy, if my enemy's general came up to me while I was planning and said, ooh, what are you doing over there? I wouldn't tell him. You're my father. I know that it's just that Zhang Zhu, but still the idea, it doesn't really work for me. It's just so you can see basically Zhang Zhu He's an asshole. That's all you're showing.
He's putting his son through the school of hard knocks, Jim, isn't he? The school of hard knocks. We've all been
He's
there.
He's graduating from the school. You're from Manchester. You've definitely been there. So we end up where this whole play of deception. And does Shang-Chi know what's going on? Is he playing it right? At one point, he does end up saying, I put myself for my soldiers. Then you end up where that's your big thing. You're doing some Sun Tzu. Hey, you can't be overconfident. You can't be too careful. You can't like your soldiers too much. But that's what Shang-Chi's all about. And then his dad, which I thought it was going to be him, his dad wants to take the toys and go away, but instead sets them on fire and then walks away. I'm like, what a jerk. That's all it is. It's supposed to show you that his dad, Zheng Zhu, if you didn't know, he's a real jerk, and Shang-Chi isn't. He's nothing like his dad. That's going to keep being brought up, where you have the Five Weapons Society want him to be like his dad, but he'll never do that. And then in the middle is kind of Master Ling. He kind of gets caught in the middle of Master Ling, where he's trying to advise Shang-Chi. He's trying to talk to him. And you have this play where, all right, this gang war is going on. You have Captain Fang of the Five Weapons Society, kind of the right-hand military guy for Shang-Chi at this point, says, hey, we should take advantage of this. We should go and, expand. Now I'm like, what do you mean expand? You're there in New York City and you're protecting Chinatown. Like, what do you want to own the Bronx and things? It doesn't make sense for Shang-Chi. It's not going to happen, but it has to be brought up because, again, there's the conflict with Captain Fang. We're going to go take it to the streets. Let's go. Shang-Chi says, no, we're just going to protect what's ours. Chinatown's fine right now. And then boom, a missile launcher gets launched. There's a big explosion, and it's Lady Yulan, the vampire lady with her vampire crew. They show up, and it's there just to have some fights. And the art is very inconsistent in this. It's a shame.
Jim, can I ask you here, what did you think of the modern version of Shang-Chi's arms? What is going on with his arms? They're absolutely huge. They're almost like Hulk.
Yeah, he is humongous. I actually thought you meant the 5 rings. I can't see how he can get those rings on.
There's no chance.
It's like, I just went to my son's wedding a couple weeks ago. And I ended up where, congratulations to him, maybe. I ended up, okay, well, I got to get my suit up. Oh, God. It was like I was Shang-Chi, except it wasn't muscle that kept those pants from going on. I was having issues. I was like, holy moly, I got to get on the treadmill.
This time of the year as well.
I know. So you end up where Shang-Chi, it's a big attack. You get some popping colors. You're going to get the rings. But even then, the flames don't look great. Nothing's really detailed. It comes off as kind of a cartoony style, but I don't think that it works out that well.
I don't know the artist. I don't know about you, but I don't think they really get...
When you have the Shang-Chi stuff, it's kind of looks... But when Spider-Man, he looks okay.
He looks decent, yeah.
Yeah, he looks pretty cool. I think it fits that style a little more. I like when Spidey shows up and the 5 rings are going after him and he has the Spidey sense going. I think you can see that. But you end up where he shows up. Shang-Chi, what's happening? I thought you were a hero. Well, he's getting attacked by vampires. So that's kind of, all bets are off a bit, but he's kind of busy at the moment, his people in his neighborhood. But I like when Spidey gets hit by one of the rings and he's
right
about
in the
to
back.
Get killed.
Ooh.
I mean, this would be the craziest thing. This issue would go through the roof if Captain Fang ended up running his sword.
He's going to
he's going to decapitate him.
Yeah.
That's what he's going to do. And Shang-Chi stops him. And right there is the problem of the issue. There is the issue of the issue is that when you have one of your guys go to kill Spider-Man, I think he's a little over the top. But again, there's not enough room to really delve into it. So I don't mind Jin Luan Yang kind of gets to the deal where you end up Shang-Chi promises Spidey, listen, we're all good here. The 5 Weapons Society I'm running is good. I promise you that we'll be fine. Well, you have my...
He just saved Spidey's life, and Spidey doesn't even really realize it, does he? He saved his life there.
I like at one point he shows up and he gets the Spidey sense because of the rings, but he's about to be decapitated. Nothing. I mean, that's when you need the Spidey sense to really kick in, right? Not when your buddy is throwing rings around that you just happen to get between. But you have this play and, hey, we're just going to protect Chinatown. We're fine. So in that, then he says to Captain Fang after Spidey, this whole talk says, listen, I trust you. I'm with you all this and we'll be fine. I promise. He keeps promising everybody all this stuff. So, as this is going on, they're kind of checking out Chinatown. You even have where Captain Fang, when he's going through, people are hugging him, and it seems nice. But this guy, like most of the Five Weapon Society, they want blood. They want to expand. They want to do their thing because it was pretty bad organization until now. So they're there and they're walking through the park, and then boom, they get attacked by Mr. Negative. Again, these things aren't really, I'd like to say vital.
They feel very random to me, Jim. How about you? Yeah.
You just get some character. But here's the thing. Most of these other issues that are trying to do more, trying to feel important, they're doing the same thing. So when you have this, I'm like, all right, it's just Shang-Chi. He's getting attacked by people and he'll fight. But he gets hit by the Dark Force energy cannon. And Mr. Negative says, this is going to change you. This is going to bring out who you really are. And it's so quick. Again, the space is not there because all of a sudden, Shang-Chi thinks of like, oh my God, I'm turning into the bad guy. I'm going to now that would be more interesting.
Especially if they played it out, but they don't, do they? As you say, they rush it. It's like, it's not played out at all.
He shakes it off.
Yeah,
and
really
ends
quick.
Up falling down. I'm like, the interesting thing to me would be, and there's a weird play by the end, just keep in mind, I think the interesting thing with him going dark to kind of get involved in this gang war, that doesn't happen. Maybe it will, but it doesn't seem. It seems he shakes it off, and then he just falls down. He destroys this cannon. Mr. Negative, look at them run away like chumps. But then he goes down, right? And then you end up having Captain Fang come up. And it is pretty much Princess Bride now. It's Wesley. It's kind of the opposite, where in Princess Bride, Wesley pretended that he could get up out of bed. In this, Shang-Chi's pretending he can't, but he is pretending. He's deceiving. And that's the big thing. Captain
I've
Fang.
taken too much damage, yeah. I can't wield the rings.
There. He has the rings it gets sealed in a case. Master Ling is there with him, and he's playing that idea of, I can't move. I trust you, Captain Fang, to make sure everything goes smooth, protect Chinatown. But again, the whole play on Shang-Chi's part is deception. But Captain Fang is big on take advantage of the situation, which he does. You end up, Master Ling goes out. Sorcerers encase him in a frozen field that then disappears because they also have the rings kind of sealed as well. But when Shang-Chi is laying there, Captain Fang comes in, thinks he can just kill him, and that's where the deception's revealed. Shang-Chi gets up and starts beating the crap out of Fang, says, I trusted you, but then Fang, you lied to me. The deception's the way of the day here, Fang. But when he goes out, Ling's out of the day. I was like, how did Ling get out of that deal? But when you go out there, the rings, I love when Shang-Chi's like hugging that cube of rings. It's the funniest thing ever. He's like, oh, please, but they can't get it. They're sealed. So here's where it ends, where the play is, how is Shang-Chi going to fight back? How is he going to protect the deal? And they say, oh, the heroes are going to come for you as well. I don't think so. Spider-Man left. It was fine. They didn't do anything since. But you end up where he's going to fight with his fists. So the big play is, all right, Shang-Chi's just going to be, the fists. He's now the deadly hands of Kung Fu again. He's just going to fight people with his massive arms.
Those huge, ridiculously huge arms.
People coming in here, and again, I think that the play would be, look at the people. Who in this whole gang war is going to be able to do anything to Shang-Chi when he has the rings?
Yeah,
Nobody.
exactly.
He just destroys them, right? So you have to get rid of them. But does that make it not as interesting? Maybe it makes it more interesting, actually, to just have them fight. But the other idea of that darker Shang-Chi would go, again, I think that if it was full out Shang-Chi dark from that cannon, he'd probably rip through, people like Frost Pharaoh or the Bumbler or Big Ben. These people don't stand a chance. So now it's just Shang-Chi, no rings. maybe you get some cool fights. That's about the best.
Imagine if the dark Shang-Chi got control of the rings, Jim, and then he went from there, trying to defeat him. That would be awesome.
That would be pretty cool. But here's the thing. I think that in anybody's bingo card, who wins and is there going to be a winner of the gang war? Don't we all lose in the gang war? Because I feel like I am.
Especially me or you. Yeah, we lose.
Shang-Chi, nobody's going to think, oh, Shang-Chi is controlling New York City. But when I say that out loud, I think that might be pretty cool. I'd rather have that than a lot of other things. But at the end, he's going to fight with his hands, not his rings. But what would you give this?
Well, I'll say I'm not that sure about the art, but the story was okay. Even though it was very rushed, it didn't have time to develop. And Jim, I thought this was a one-shot. I was so surprised at the end when it says, to be continued. I was like, oh, okay, really?
Yeah, so there's 3, so that's...
Okay, let's see. 6.5 out of 10. 6.5.
Yeah, I'm gonna be actually a little more positive. I have not liked this week of comics so far, but I'm gonna give it a 7. Hey, all you weirdos! If you like comic book shows, podcasts, videos, please check the description of this video, where you can see links to all of our podcast shows, websites, all of that. And if you want to help us out for everything that we do, you can click on that Patreon link in the upper left-hand corner and check out our Patreon, where you can go right now and get a 7-day free trial to see all the stuff that we do, shows that are Marvel, DC, indie, manga, and even more. So check all that out, and I'll talk to you all later.
Weird science is the revolution.